to see what happens with that.
That
would be fun.
No, there's some, I just wondered, because it's fun with how everybody's musicians that play it as well, so.
Let's just hope we can cast it.
Well.
So first on the agenda, we called to order, is review and approve the July 15, 2022 meeting notes. We do have a quorum. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting notes?
My motion.
And second?
Second.
Nancy? Unless there's a dissent, they are approved. Second item on the agenda is the Summer Concert Series wrap-up. And Char, do you have that information?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it. So overall, I felt like it was a really good year. The crowd was steady. We had one rain out, straight up rain out. So we rescheduled that concert to play right after the Come Together Rock Festival. We usually wrap our series and then the Come Together Rock Festival plays 2 days and then it's all over. But we just rescheduled them to the outdoor stage for the following Monday, and that worked out well. I was a little worried about our crowd, but it turned out pretty good in my opinion. And we had the potential for a rain out one night, so we talked to the band. It was the Tri-Chevy's rock and roll band, so they felt like they would rather have us move in to Library Hall, which we did. It did sprinkle a little bit, but skies were definitely gray and threatening, so we felt like moving it in would be our best chance for a better audience, and that was it was good. The crowd followed him in. It was really a party in there, and so that one was good. Everything else played out in the park just as we expected it to be. We had many Arts Council hosts come. We appreciated that so much, and I felt like it was an easier year given that there wasn't heavy smoke. I know a lot of people had concerns about that last year, and we had concerns about it for performers as well, so we were really happy that the Earth and everyone else didn't have to suffer as much from that this summer. So we can look at changing like pricing and things like that, but unless there are significant changes that you guys would like us to explore or recommend, I think we would be looking to just do about the same thing next year. 6 concerts starting in July, not on July 4th, but the 24th didn't seem to bother people. So kind of just approach it from that standpoint. I felt like it was a good crowd for as robust as the. Sorry, my microphone wasn't on. Sorry about that. I felt like it was a good, robust crowd for as much activity is going on in the summer. So that was really just all I wanted to touch on. If there was any feedback or other suggestions or recommendations that you have, we're going to spend a little bit of grant money on buying a larger mixer because we've run into the need for a few more channels at the stage, so we're looking at doing that. We'll probably look at maybe a different speaker configuration just because we had different staff for the sound this year, and we thought we had one gentleman that was going to be like the prime, and then he got a full-time job like right after we hired him, and so we have 2 people doing it now. They're younger, and my only concern with the speakers are that you have to heft it up and put it on a skinny pole, and we're not sure that's necessary. We can do it on a rolling, something like the casters or furniture dolly, and then just set it on this step or the stage. So that's really all we'd be probably looking at to do there, but just to avoid having someone have a challenge. We had to get substitute sound, one night because we lost that one employee and the other employee wasn't available. So the band brought their own sound and he showed up with the back, belt on, and I'm like, yeah, we need to maybe look at that particular area just so we don't drop it, crush anybody, hurt anybody. So that's just part of what we looked at in terms of equipment for this year. But.
I can make recommendations on a larger mixer.
Oh, our sound guy's already made his recommendation, and there's a budget, so it's not the end-all mixer, but it should get the job done for what we are trying to do out there.
So that's Sam.
Yeah, Sam borrowed a mixer from his employer for the last one, so he could work out something.
How much of a turnover in acts do we have? Are they a lot of repeat acts every year, or?
We've had a lot of repeat ones. It kind of just depends on, the committee and the pool that they're choosing from. So join the pool, or, come to the committee next year.
Having been on the committee, we always talk about that. Do we have too much repeat, and do we have a good mix of styles? But it does just go with the committee.
Yeah. So it's definitely a mixed bag of applications. We have to kind of sort out a lot of things that probably won't work out there. And it isn't that we don't want to give all different types of music a chance, that there are some things that are just going to be probably either harder to produce or, I don't know, if they'd be received as well. We did the funk band this year. They were young kids. I liked them. They are a new band, so, Dave Blackington's one of our musical experts, and he could note a few areas where he felt like they will grow in strength as their career goes on, but we didn't get any complaints about, having a different group with a different sound. And we put the kind of title funk out there, and I think a lot of people were expecting maybe funk that they knew from previous decades, not new funk, but I mean, it's kind of hard to encapsulate it. We definitely get a little bit of feedback, people love covers out there for some reason. It's a harder venue for original music, and I don't know, it was good here though.
Did anyone here happen to host?
I did, and it was wonderful. It was the two gentlemen that played covers. They covered everything. It was great. Yeah.
Was that
acoustic? I think it was. Do you remember? It was
Dave and Carl?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it was very good. Yeah. They normally play Park City, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had a list that the committee had chosen, and then it was about making the 6 original picks fit in the 6 slots. And sometimes, I can only play on this date and I can only play on this date. So sometimes we can't accommodate all of the dates. It's a challenge. So then we go to the next suggestions just to try and see what we can work out. Because there was one called Lantern by the Sea, but we had a scheduling issue with that. So. But yeah, we just advertise it, see what we get, and then join the committee and see what you think will work. Because I'm happy with anything. I'm not really a picker. But.
And let people know to be looking for when it's time to apply. Send in. It always helps to have recordings or a link that we can access to hear them and see them performing.
Yeah.
And are they all pretty local?
Yeah, we don't have the money. I mean, we're not the draw with the money, but I mean, we have people from all over the Salt Lake area, even Ogden and that, who apply every year, but some of them are the same, and again, trying to mix it up, but nobody really from out of state.
So, John has joined us.
Yes, John is on the Zoom.
We have updates for the utility box art.
Yeah, I can start and then John can help here. So Nate Prescott was originally the staffer that was spearheading this. He's an artist himself. He did the box that's on the corner of 8th South and 4th East. It has, I don't know, an angelic figure, an astronaut figure, kind of a piece. And he has been doing, he does economic development for the city. He's been doing a lot with that this summer. And his last day of work is today. So we have not been able to do as much as we wanted to this point, but we have, he just barely, like 10 minutes before this meeting, transferred all of his documents to me so I can sort that out in terms of artist agreements. I've been trying to get him to see what we need to work on with the city attorney's office, but he's moving to Hawaii, so he had to take some time and go there to find housing and all of that. So I've got them now. I'll go through them. I'll make sure that the city attorney's office has reviewed everything. And then we have the other memorandums of agreement to execute with outside agencies. And then the committee has a subcommittee of people who are interested met to look at the art. The follow-up from that is Councilmember LeRae was not able to be at that meeting, so she met with me and she wanted me to share her favorite picks in the art. So John sent his top 8. Councilmember LeRae's aren't ranked. I think what is the best thing to go forward is to choose 10, and we'll continue to try and work on what we can get out there for the fall. So we would have the agreement with the art. Sorry, go ahead.
Did we hear back from Sound Vision or from anyone? I'm just not certain where we're in the process with selecting a vendor for the actual printing and installation.
I think Sound Vision is still the top candidate, but I have not approached them about dates or individual boxes. And then I don't know how much of the configuration work they do on their end, or if we need to present everything in the format ready to go for them. I was hoping Nate was going to be doing this, so I have not done anything with it. But.
On the 2 boxes that they already did for us, I generated the full-size Photoshop file for, I can't remember the gentleman's name at Sound Vision, but we presented him the final digital format, and he just printed it.
And so did he have a particular shape that you had to put that into, or was it just a rectangle or square, or is there like the cutouts for the different?
Well, he knows, well, we agree on what is the actual dimensions for the box that we're printing and where on the boxes we're putting the vinyl, and then we put the art into that shape. So when we did the astronaut and medical person on the 800 South and the one he's on by Sarah, we had to make slight modification, adding additional background or trimming here and there to get to fit the right dimensions. But for the most part, that wasn't an issue. It's kind of a per box print based on the dimensions of the actual box. And if we're, in this case, going forward, I think we're probably going to avoid the doors. So we'll be doing, 3, 2, one side. We can come to a understanding with whoever's the Sound Vision. We come to an understanding with them as to on each box what surface is actually getting the art.
Okay.
Shari, I just wanted to add that I recently spent a few days in Colorado, and Fort Collins has done this, and it is just delightful. I'm so anxious to have more than the two, so that people know Orem has this, because it was just so fun to see the different art in Fort Collins.
Yeah, I noticed it in other places too, and I think it is.
We were in Coeur d'Alene this summer and it was the same thing, it was beautiful.
Nice. So I can show you like some of the short list of all the selections, or whatever you guys want to do at this point.
I'd love to see a few.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of the ones that John had on his list were in Debbie's list too. So, and again, it's a very fluid situation. Debbie added some that the other group had not selected, but we're going to start out with like the top 10. So there's going to be a lot of picking and choosing. There's no one list, but I'll just go through these. This was one that she added, and she said unicorns are very big right now, and the artist said that they would do a piece. So if we feel like this one falls in the top 10, we would work with the artist to get a specific piece done. Again, this one was not necessarily one of the committee's favorites, but Debbie thought that it had some potential, as with this one. But again, we're going for top 10 here. I think the committee was pretty interested, or they felt like this one would be somewhat viable for a box. Debbie really liked this one. The committee and Debbie liked these kind of striking ones. So those are the same artist, and it could go either one or both. Debbie really likes this one. This one, I wonder how easy it would be to identify what, because there's a lot going on in it, but I am not the... This artist, there were several submissions, and that the artist was probably more interesting to everyone than any specific piece. If that rises to the top, we could revisit that with all the selections, or see if there's other things that we want to recommend. This one is Debbie's complete favorite, but I don't know if, I mean, the committee didn't dislike it. There's just the challenge of, is there the availability to flush out the rest of the space? Debbie really likes this one. In case we did a butterfly. She thought this one had potential, so she put it in the group. The committee liked that one. Debbie liked that one. This artist submitted a lot of things. The committee thought this would be their pick of the things submitted, and thought it was nice. This was another one by that artist that Debbie thought maybe she would consider. And then this artist submitted several things that are all kind of in the same feeling, and Debbie liked these two the most. Sorry. She thought that one of that artist was her pick, but this artist had some really amazing pieces. This was one. The other, this is the same artist. This one too was the same artist. So what's possible with those? She really liked the things that were kind of a nod to agriculture, especially fruit. So that was one. committee liked this one too. And then this one was submitted by a parent for their youth, and I think everyone thought it would be kind of fun.
I do too.
Sorry, I am the worst with my Zoom here. Would be kind of fun and maybe lead to more opportunities to select, art from individual schools and things like that. The only one that Debbie just really wasn't fond of was this one. She felt like it was a little bit, she felt like maybe down the road it would be easier to incorporate something like that rather than start off with something like that. So that was her concern. And yeah, oh, I'm going to share my screen again. Sorry about that, John. So these are John's picks in order. This is his first pick.
I don't remember. I don't have my document open, and I can't see the screen.
Oh, you can't? I'm sorry. Am I not screen sharing?
You haven't selected the screen. Yeah.
Sorry.
And then share. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I can see that now. Thank you.
So again, that was John's first choice. And John's also looking at some of the ways that it would have to be manipulated with the box as well. So, second choice, let's see.
Some of these would be good for one panel. Others would work wrapping around three sides of.
So then you had 2 from this artist on 3, so I just labeled this one 3A and 3B. And this is 4. And 5.
One thing I didn't include, and that's the piece that we purchased from the gentleman, I can't remember his name now, but
Just Smart Smiley.
yes, that one, I just made the assumption that was happening.
Yeah, it's happening.
So have we seen that?
I can pull it up again. So those were John's top selections.
So, yeah, I guess too, the question would be, how many boxes should we try to do right away? Let's try to get 2 or 3 done in October, or what?
I guess let's see if we can do up to 10.
That's the one that you were mentioning.
Yeah, this is Just Smart Smiley's piece that the city has we've already purchased. And then Cindy Clark gave a couple of pieces. No. I can find her files. I know they have saved them somewhere. There they are.
Oh, neat.
So she donated those. We just need to, if we do them as a collage or anything, we just need to do it in context, because this one, if you don't know what it is, it looks like birds, as you're coming up on it with like bird long legs. And so you're kind of like trying to figure it out. Not that that's a bad thing, but I think if you saw it in context with others, you would understand that they're people in aprons and stuff like that, so.
That's cool.
Nice.
So,
I think that's so appropriate with all that Cindy has done.
oh
This
yeah,
committee.
yeah, she's got amazing stuff. So, where do you guys want to go? How do you want to do it?
I love them all, so
I
I
think
don't want to be the one to
I think we
choose.
need to pick the boxes.
Pick the boxes, and I need to go down to Sarah Park. What would you all think? So there's a building at Sarah Park has 2 bright blue doors. And we were wondering if it would be possible to just do those doors to add more art into the park. What would you think about these 2 pieces in that space? Because what would you envision? Would you envision totally separate for the doors? Or would you envision a common artist? Or how would that look to you guys as viewers?
Are the doors next to each other?
They're separated by a section of the building, but they're pretty close. So they're not like immediately double doors that you open or close at the same time, but they are, I don't know, maybe 10 feet separates the edges. I'm not exactly sure. I could go down.
I like
could
that
do
idea.
right now,
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah,
So-
I like those pieces anyway. Sure. I like those abstracts.
Yeah, so we thought maybe, just in looking at things down in Sarah Park, because given that that's one of the targets, if you could do as much as possible down there to try and bump it up and keep it going, I guess, down there, so. And I'm pretty sure they're just metal doors. They are bright blue,
No.
they are royal blue.
Can we have, can we just kind of have with the subcommittee, later next week, just have a quick meet to make a decision on those 2 or 2 others by the same artist, and then have the Sound Visions just get started on that?
Sure.
Okay.
And that box you were asking about in City Center Park is the city's box. It's where they house all the massive electrical stuff for the Summerfest, like the input, so.
Okay. That's the one that's kind of like a monolith that's by the track on the south side.
South side. I guess I was thinking it was more on the south, yeah, probably southeast. Yeah, it's like between, like in the corner of the senior center and Center Street.
Yeah, kind of in that general area.
That's it.
Okay. Well, good. Well, that makes that easier.
Yeah, they just are, these are the nuts and bolts guys who are like, don't mess up the box. And I'm like, okay, well.
Okay. Well, like I said, we can. It's a nice box in terms of the surfaces are generally fairly flat, so we can avoid the door, and then we'll still have pretty good surfaces. So
what do you think about using this one? Do I just say, well, we'd have to reach back to the artist and get it squared off, or just use the other one?
yeah, that one's not. I don't see that one working.
Okay.
Well, just only have so many other good ones to choose from that will work better on a box.
Okay.
And she submitted multiples. That
Yeah, this was one. What did you think, Bob?
I like that one.
You're good with that one because you saw all of them.
Is there any thought about appealing to a specific demographic in the community with the art? I'm just thinking about the Day of the Dead one on the top. The second one, yeah.
I do love that. And
Yeah,
don't
I like it anyway, besides that it's,
Yeah.
has a specific meaning to people.
Is it from an artist from that cultural community?
Her name's Anna Cadjan, so Cadjan, I don't know how to say it. What the submission.
There's some pushback when art is being done by
Right.
someone who
Absolutely.
doesn't know anything
If it's
about
not done by someone
the
else.
culture that they're representing. So I would hate for people to be mad about that.
She said, I think the pieces I'm submitting add a younger, funkier flavor to the city. This art will impact the community in a positive way by drawing people out of their daily thinking. This piece is very abstract and therefore gives the viewer freedom to create their own thoughts. Well, I don't know what specific piece she was talking about, but yeah, that's something we should definitely consider for sure.
But I like the art, and I like the idea of a Day of the Dead piece as well.
That's a
Right.
good
I
point.
agree, it needs to be by someone from that culture.
That's a really good point. Can you tell us who the artist was for the one of the triangle and the woman?
It's Haley South. She did this one,
Yeah, that's beautiful.
and the other one. She had some great pieces.
She's the one that has the mural in the photos,
I would say yes, and then I would be wrong. It's like my brain, too many tabs open. That's not it.
Downtown Provo, there it is, that one. Haley South.
Yes. She does have the program mural. Orem is the town she found her artistic voice in. Canyon View and Orem High School art classes. She's now 26 and she does it full time. Attached are examples of my work. You can find more at haleysouth.com. So she submitted this one. They're all really amazing. And that's the mural downtown. And it wasn't that we don't love that. It's just kind of like, well, do we replicate it or show something new?
Yes. We don't want to copy Provo.
This one. And this one. And this one. We got a lot of submissions for art of women with flowers in their hair. And since we have that with Cassie's piece, it wasn't that we were trying to not consider it, it was just like, let's, for the first 10, let's mix it up a little and, offer a variety of different things.
I like the idea that most of them have bright colors, not all of them, most of them. When we saw the ones in Coeur d'Alene, we weren't walking. Had we been walking, it wouldn't matter what, it would have caught our eyes, but as we were driving, not fast, but driving, the bright colors caught our eyes, right?
That's
So
same.
I think that's kind of important until people get used to them, right?
Yeah. And while I think there's a lot to be said for like, oh, okay, now I'm engaged and I need to look at it and find what speaks to me and interpret it in my way. In the same way, it's not a critical statement that Cindy's art kind of read as birds when we saw it from far away. It was just like, if you're in your vehicle and do you have time to kind of get a grasp of what it is, and so I don't know. But
That one might, hers, all three of them might be nice in John's idea of different parts of the box,
yeah.
Sides and.
For sure, yeah. So we still have an opening on the Arts Council, and now with Nancy leaving us, we'll have another one. Alex Malone sent over information for someone who's very connected to the visual art community, and I've reached out to Anna Davis, who's one of the high school art teachers. She is having a hard time with the schedule, because looking at the regular meeting times, she would only be able to attend maybe 1 or 2 a year. So I hate to try and pinch people into something that they just really cannot do, but I would love to have her involvement, because we've crossed over 10 years on the Orem Stories project, which is a student-driven project. We've opened it up in the past and let all community residents, it's not let them, but encouraged all community residents to submit a portrait. But with the students, there's been a component of assistance and curriculum and trying to work with them as art students in their classes. So I don't know if she's going to be able to join or not. Moving the meeting to 1 o'clock could help her, but then I don't know if that destabilizes the meeting for other folks. So it's really hard to hit the sweet spot on a meeting, but but we will keep working on that.
Is there some specific representation that we're missing?
Yeah.
We have a lot of theater representation.
Yeah,
Art representation.
Sure.
We used to be pretty art heavy, and now we
No,
are.
not so much. Do we need writers or dancers? Like,
Yeah, we need everything. It's just a matter of the abilities, the openings come.
And how many openings are we looking at?
Probably 2.
Okay.
I've got the singing background and audio engineering background.
Do they
I need to
go
see it.
online if we find somebody else who's interested? How do we go about?
Yeah, there's an online application. It's on the city's website.
Okay.
And we could go back through the other submissions, but I told Councilmember Lurie, I said, we really need some art, because it's helpful in a lot of ways, so. So I guess the takeaway, I'm gonna go up to Sarah Park and do some recon work, and then I will get back with John and the others who were working in the smaller group, and maybe we could just do a quick Zoom or something to wrap up the selection. I'll get through the documents that Nate sent me, and then we can start reaching out to artists, get their W-9s, get the payment, get the understanding of this is for use, not ownership of the art, and all that kind of technical stuff.
So is it safe to say though we should start out with those 2 doors and that 1 box we mentioned?
I think so. I mean, if the doors are a possibility, they might be the easiest softball to throw out there, but.
I think you're probably right. I mean, it's 1 flat surface, easy to work with. That would be great.
So I'll go to Sarah Park. We'll go for a walk on Sunday and do some recon work, and I'll get some measurements and make sure. I'm pretty sure I've been there many times, and it has to be a metal door. But so that's all I have. But I'm gonna work through all the stuff that Nate sent me, see where we are, see what, if anything, he already has in the works.
Does Nate's stuff include any kind of communications with Rocky Mountain Power and other box owners?
I don't know. I just got it like 10 minutes before the meeting, so I haven't had time to look through anything yet.
Thank you very much for all your help with this.
Oh, thank you, John. John's been the champion of the project. He's trying to keep us moving forward, and we have people in the city who have, Adobe and other technical abilities, but I'm not one of them. So if it takes much manipulation of the piece, you don't want me to do it. I'm just gonna say that.
I'm still happy to do all the digital manipulation of those pieces, so.
So is there any other quick things that we can discuss before we discuss the city council meeting on October 25th?
Pleasant Grove's Arts Council is doing, Pleasant Grove's Arts Commission is doing a songwriter competition and showcase. And they asked if I could help publicize it, so I'll probably put it on the city's Facebook page saying that we're, sharing their information, but we don't share everybody's information, so it kind of has to be limited, but I guess this one could be an opportunity for Orem artists because they said it's open, so that will show up over the weekend on the city's Facebook page, but that's all I have on.
Anything else? The Orem Arts Council has a presentation to the city council coming up on October 25th. And do we have any plans for that yet, or?
It's designed to be like a 10-minute check-in, and really I think it's kind of what's the Arts Council been doing and what's the Arts Council planning to do. So this year we have done Orem Stories. It was the 10th year of Orem Stories. Sweetheart Serenade.
Sweetheart Serenade.
I just barely sent every email with all the stuff that we did.
What time are those meetings usually held?
6. And you can watch them on YouTube if you don't come, but everyone's welcome to come. We put entertainment on stage during the Summerfest. We did the summer concert series, and we're working on this. We haven't talked about anything else coming up, but that's certainly, up to you guys.
So I plan on being there and probably will be the presenter.
Can it be a visual?
Yeah, I
Presentation?
think so. I think we can do like a PowerPoint presentation.
Would John be willing to be on that committee?
I'm sure he would.
John, would you be willing to be nominated for that committee to pull that presentation together?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Would you be willing to help with the presentation to the city council on October 25th?
I can pull together.
What day is the meeting one more time?
Tuesday, October 25th.
At 6.
And I can pull together pictures and
I can, I'm happy to put together a PowerPoint. I said the day before I'm having a medical procedure, might not be able to stand up for a presentation on Tuesday.
Well, don't we?
But I'm happy to put together a PowerPoint for whoever.
Okay, we'll work on that then. Thanks, John. I just saw your chat, so I'll get with you after you're back in town next week.
Alright, thanks.
Thank you. So, is there anything other than those things mentioned that you'd like to put in there, or?
I think I'd like to say these are the things that we're planning for next year, that we're continuing to do these. We're going to try to get Orem Stories, continue summer concert series, doing the summer thing. I'm wondering about the Sweetheart Serenade singing. The workshop group that we had coming has almost dissipated.
Oh no.
Yeah. But they may be able to get more members coming in to do it again if needed. We'll probably change the way we did it. I didn't like how it came out.
I thought people had a good time, but
Yes.
less coming from the audience to the stage for just risk management. I think it's better for me personally, but.
Yeah. And we weren't using the same stuff that we had purchased, the same arrangements that we had purchased.
Oh. All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
But I
we'll pull together, I've got, most of the pictures are on my phone from various things, so we'll pull together some pictures, but it really is, it's a just 10-minute little check-in kind of thing.
So there'd be like one person or two from the committee to go and do the presentation?
I mean, everyone's welcome, but yeah, I mean, it's just depending on
Yeah. The
whether you
last
wanna
time,
come on out for
the last
such a
time
quick show.
I was there, there was a table that you sat at, plugged in.
Yeah, I just,
I just don't know if it would be helpful for city council to actually know who we are.
Yeah.
You know, and have a little face-to-face, not that we're all going to talk or anything like that, but just so, you know, it might help their connection with us and when we have requests and stuff, to actually know what we're like
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's great. Anybody have anything else? Cody, what's going on over at the Hale? Good stuff, always?
We're doing good.
I see that next year, the Music Man is
What's
coming
that?
up. The next year, the Music Man is coming up.
Yes, that'll be in next year's season.
I think I'll be auditioning for that.
You do? Come out?
Yeah, I do barbershop.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Might even be able to get a quartet together to
You never
audition.
know. That'd be great. Yeah, we're in the middle of, we're just on our, basically close to our last week of Enchanted April and we're opening Sister Act,
So fun.
which should be a lot of fun.
I've never seen Sister
All
Act.
that crazy 80s music in there.
Oh, that's the best. That's the
Yes.
best.
Yeah.
Enchanted April was lovely.
Yeah, it's a nice straight play.
Yes.
And I feel sorry for the poor tech guy who every day before the show has to tuck all that stuff back up and cover it all up. So it's supposed to look like rainy England. And then at intermission, right after as the lights are coming up, we're supposed to have gone to Italy. And all of a sudden, everything just, it's an instant reveal. It's like, boom, all of a sudden, whoa, flowers everywhere in the walls, and it's Italy. It's pretty fun.
That's so cool.
But it takes about 40 minutes to set it up to get it back to where it was.
Well,
If there isn't anything else, do we have a call to adjourn? Motion.
I just have a quick question, is when we're members of the council, of the Arts Council, have to be residents of Orem, obviously.
Yes.
Have we done any looking into like faculty members at UVU in art departments or dance departments or
yeah,
anything like
I mean,
that?
Alex, who wasn't able to be here today because he has a sick child at home, he sent over the director of the Lake Mount Manor, which is UVU's new art museum, which ties into most, if not everything, that they have going on in the visual art world over there. And so she sounds like she would be interested, and that's definitely, I think, a great ad. So I just don't know whether Anna can work out her schedule, and I think she would be an amazing driver of Orem stories, but it's hard to overload an already overloaded teacher, as you guys all know. But so it's just one of those, you don't want to set somebody up with a time slot or a time commitment that they just can't do right now. So, but the other, I can't remember her name right this second, I'll look it up in my email, but I think she would be very well connected to all kinds of art experts, and you can always draw on other resources that you have. You don't have to be an Arts Council member to participate in anything the Arts Council is sponsoring. We use volunteers in a variety of capacities over the years.
I volunteered before I I became a member. Did a lot of emceeing at the summer concert series. So anything else?
I move we adjourn.
Second? I'll second. So unless there's a dissent, we're adjourned.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Make sure you got some lunch.